So in this lesson, we are going to simplify expressions by combining like terms. Now, before we do this, we need to know what like terms are. So basically, before we can combine them, we need to know what they are. So in example 1, we can see that we have a 5 plus 4x minus 5x plus 2x plus 3. So we're going to count the number of terms. It's much easier to show you how this works than it is to provide a formal definition. So we start off with 5, positive 5. Then we add 4x. And then we subtract 5x. And then we add 2x. And then we add 3. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. Keep in mind that this 5 is a positive. So if you put it there, it looks like the rest, where the 4x has a plus, a positive value. The 5x has a negative value, but you see how this is with it. The line doesn't cut it off. It is part of the 5x box or term. So example number 2, we start off with the 10. We take away x, and we take away 5x. We have 1, 2, 3 terms. Our second term is minus x. Our third term is minus 5x. In this example 3, we only have a 3. So that is one term. So 10y plus 4y minus 3y plus 15 are 4 terms. So I'm going to give you a moment. You can pause the video if you want to figure out examples 5 through 9. So I'm just going to put the number of terms down now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. 1, 2 terms. 1, 2, 3 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So let's go ahead and combine these. So remember that if we have 3 times a number, we don't know what that number is, that's why x is there. 3 times x plus 4 times x. So 3 times a number plus 4 times the same number is going to be 7 times that number. Over here, I have 7 times a number minus 2 times a number plus 1. So if you look, if I multiply 7 times a number and I subtract 2 times that number, what's really happening is that I only have 5 of those numbers left. Sorry, I had to be careful. So if I have 7 copies of a number and I take away 2 copies of a number, I'm left with 5 copies of a number, or of that number. This 1 is left alone because it doesn't have a y. So I just bring it down, plus 1, and I leave it. I cannot put those together because this term has a y. This term does not have a y. So let's go ahead and box these to make this easier to see. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. These are 2 W terms, so they go together. If I take away 1 W and I take away 2 W, then I'm really taking away 3 W minus 3 W. And if I add 3 and then add 4 later, see how they don't have a W? So I can put them together. So if I add 3 and add 4, I'm really adding 7. Let's go ahead and look at this next one. Let's box our terms. 2x plus 3 minus 5x plus 4. I'm going to always start with my variable term, my x term, if you prefer. So this has 2 times a number and minus 5 times a number. So if I have a positive 2 times a number, and I take away 5 times that number, well, 2 minus 5 means I have like negative 3, so to speak, copies of that number. So negative 3 copies of that number. And if I add 3 again, you can see how it's in the middle over here, and I add 4 later, then once again I'm adding 7. So these come down for a positive 7, so I'm going to write it or express it as plus 7. Okay, 2 more. So let's box the terms. Minus 10, or negative 10 plus 3y minus y plus 4. So I'm going to look for my x term, my variable terms. There's no x in this, it's a y. So here's a y term, and here's a y term. So I have 3 copies of y, and I take away y. Well, don't forget that if I'm taking away y, then I'm essentially taking away 1 copy of y. So 3 copies of y minus 3 copies of y is 2 copies of y. So 2y. And then if it makes it easier, you can cross it out here. I don't, because I like to see my work to make sure I didn't do anything wrong. So if I have a negative 10 and somewhere along the lines I add 4, well, if I have negative 10 and I have positive 4, then I'm left with, so to speak, negative 6. I have more negatives here. I have 10 negatives, 4 positive ones, and then they cancel out. I ended up with 6 negative signs. So negative 6. So I express that as minus 6. Let's look at our last example. So negative 10 minus 6y plus 3y plus 5 plus 2 minus y. All right, so let's look for our variable terms. I have negative 6y plus 3y minus y. So I have 3 y terms right here, and right here. So I take away 6 copies of y, and then I add 3 copies of y, and then I take away a y, so 1 copy of y. I'm going to put these together. These right here, I'm actually going to do this. So these right here, if I have negative 6 copies of y and negative 1 copy of y, I actually have negative 7 copies of y. And then I'm going to add the 3 copies of y, and I end up with more negatives, and I'm combining them, so I have negative 4 copies of y. So negative 4y. Like that. I'm going to mark them at the top at least so I can see them. Okay, so in this one, this expression starts off with negative 10. And then I'm going to add 5 somewhere along the line and add 2. So I like to just combine certain things. So the 5 and the 2, I'm going to put it over here, give me 7. And then I take away 10. 7 take away 10 is negative 3. So I'm going to represent that in the expression as minus 3. Don't forget to show how you got it. And there you go. Thank you.